I'm sure I'm getting better at this, I think. But welcome to Horror Syndicate Up All Night. This is a show where Seth and I get together and we talk about movies we love. And right now we're going through the Scream franchise. And we had to double up tonight because Scream 6 will be here in 2 weeks. So we wanted to get Scream 5 in next week. So we're doing Scream 3 and Scream 4 tonight. And if you don't know, if you haven't been here before, what we do is we talk about the films, and then we have a rating for each film, and then we combine our ratings for an overall rating. And at the end of the final episode, or whatever, we're going to do a ranking of the entire series. And we'll get back to Friday the 13th after Scream's over. We left off on Jason Takes Manhattan, the movie that Seth detests, and I just don't get it. I cannot wait to discuss that one. That will be coming up after we finish with the Scream movies. But first, I want to make you subscribe to the Horror Syndicate on YouTube. And of course, if you're not watching on Facebook, head over to Facebook. We're doing a lot of horror film ratings, and that is how we're getting an audience score. We also have the audience score, and it's kind of like a Rotten Tomatoes score, so it's a percentage, and this is how we're going to figure out the rankings. So let me introduce my my buddy here. This is Seth, and he is a Miller. Oh, by the way, this is brought to you by Dr. Pepper tonight. Last week was Doritos. This was gifted to me by my friend Rachel. I'm going to drink it in good health. Anyway, Seth, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
My back is fucking killing me. Other than that, I'm in a great mood. Reynolds went to his first dance. That's why we had to go a little bit later tonight. He was out dancing the night away with some girl. I mean, he gets it from his dad, you know. Come on. Anyway, all right, you ready to discuss? We're gonna break it down. We're gonna do Scream 3 first, and then we'll do our scores for Scream 3, and then we'll do Scream 4 afterwards and reveal our scores, and of course the audience scores, and of course our dear friend Sean Sheridan jumped in at the top of the show. And anybody who's out there, we want to hear from you, your favorite scenes, comment on what we're talking about, and we'll throw it up on the screen. And Scream is easily the worst of the series.
I think Scream 3.
Yeah. Scream 4 was a good return to form, but it has the worst ending. I like the ending. Scream 3 has the worst. Okay, yeah. Hi Ray. Hi Seth. Hello. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into Scream 3 a little bit, Seth. As we do on the Discourse show. Actually, we do shows on Wednesdays too. It's the Horror Syndicate Discourse with Nate, Jared, myself, and Seth, of course. Scream 3. Let's talk about the story a little bit. You want to jump in and tell us a little bit about the story?
Yeah, so there's a killer who has a different voice changer than before, who's looking for Sydney. He starts with killing Cotton to try to get the information, and then the killer strikes a Hollywood movie set being made as they're making Stab 3, and then it goes from there.
Hey,
Which was
thanks,
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Rod. It's all good. I mean, it's a slasher sequel. We got another person from the UK watching. Thanks for following the Horror Syndicate and doing all the ratings. We do more. We usually do a March Madness bracket too. I'm not sure if I want to do that or not because it's a lot of work. But yeah, Scream 3. I mean, it picks up how long after? It's a few years after Scream 2, right? And Cotton has become kind of a talk show celebrity, and he's got his show, which is the best fucking title for a show for a guy named Cotton, 100% Cotton. And he gets this call, and and then she's flirting with him. Well, she, but he's a guy, and his girlfriend is at home, and she gets attacked by Ghostface, and wackiness ensues. Of course, looking for Sydney. This one, in my opinion, has the weakest story, and they really went for the trilogy trope, as Randy puts it later on, with the family, the familial connection, the a la Freddy's Dead, and and those Freddy's Dead, Jason Goes to Hell, they did the family connection. And this is where those franchises went to die, And this kind of did kill franchise Scream for 10, 11 years. By the way, I'm not going to be able to sit still tonight, just so you guys know, my back is killing me. But anyway, overall, I mean, I feel like Scream 3 is enjoyable, but it is 100% the weakest of the first three, especially.
I agree.
Yes.
I do agree with that, because there are certain things that I do like about Scream 3. And I feel like, when it does come to an end, like I would have been fine if that was the last Scream movie.
Yeah.
It felt like there was some closure by the end of it. But there's just certain things that I don't like about it, and mostly that pertains to the writing of it.
Yeah.
Because instead of Kevin Williamson, you have Aaron Kruger, who is not one of my favorite screenwriters, although he did write, I think he wrote Arlington Road, which was pretty good. But he didn't have the grasp on the characters. And for me personally, it felt like Dewey was written as if he was Doofy from Scary Movie. Like
in some ways, yeah.
Dewey did not feel like the same character at all.
No, I mean, they kind of made him out to be a joke, like that scene where Ghostface tosses the knife and it hits him right in the head. He kind of, yeah, I agree. The one thing I will say about this movie that I kind of like is this is kind of Gail's movie, you know. She's definitely the lead, whereas Sydney is the lead in the last two. And she's like in most of the scenes, and then until Sydney comes in. And I liked it, especially when she started teaming up with Jennifer, because those two back and forth, that to me was gold, you know, especially with the tug of war with Dewey going on in between all that, you know.
Yeah.
I like Parker Posey. She was annoying, but I really liked her. And then there's some fun scenes in the movie and a lot of red herrings, like the one girl, which I want to talk about a little bit, that's playing Sydney in Stab 3. It's Stab 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I saw somebody had a Stab shirt with Stab in green. I'm like, God, I want that. Looks so cool. Anyway, but yeah, like she gets stabbed towards the end and dragged off screen. Are we sure there weren't two killers in this movie? I'm gonna go right into that because that's something like, because she gets stabbed in the shoulder, right? That's 100% the shoulder, and she looks like she's dead as she's being dragged away. Anybody in a situation like that is gonna freak out and be like, oh my God, what's her name's dead? You know, could she be one of the ones who returns in Scream 6? That's a theory that I'm like really starting to get on board with, because she's never mentioned again. I wanted to get into that because I wanted to get your view on that.
Well, yeah, one of the things I've always felt was kind of ridiculous about Scream 3 is the fact that it's supposedly one killer, but I mean, if you watch some of the chase scenes earlier in the movie, it doesn't seem to really make sense that it's just one person the entire time. And I could be wrong on this, but I think there was a draft of this script beforehand, before the shooting script, where she was Roman's partner. I could be wrong on that, but I thought I read that a while back.
Okay, well, how would you feel if that was a revelation in Scream 3 or Scream 6? I know you've read spoilers and stuff, but just play devil's advocate with me. If it was revealed that she's in it, she was like, I was Roman's partner, his silent partner, if you will.
I would probably like Scream 3
don't give anything away.
A little bit. I would probably like Scream 3 a little bit more if that was the case, because
it would enhance it.
I would be like, okay, so there was two killers the entire time, and it would kind of go along with it, where maybe she was someone who was like maybe either in love with Roman, or maybe she was like a fanatic of him, and she successfully faked her death during the events of Scream 3 somehow, and then she continued on with Roman's plan, because one of the things that the series kind of forgets, especially with part 5, because part 5 they mentioned quite a bit that Billy started this, but based on the the revelation in Scream 3, whether you like it or not, really Roman started the whole thing.
Well, yeah. So Roman is. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was just saying. Roman was technically the architect of it. So to have this continue on with someone who is associated with him instead of being someone who's related to Billy or Stu
Right.
or any of the other previous killers. I think that'd be.
What if Roman? So Roman was the architect for what happens in Scream 1 and Scream 3, where Debbie Salt, aka Billy's mother, and Mickey kind of went rogue on their own. So I don't think that was in Roman's playbook, if you will. So like, I'm curious if there's somebody even higher up, than Roman that's pulling the puppet master, and that could be revealed in. This is not going to be a Scream 6 theory show because we've done the theory show, but like I have only watched the one trailer. But the more I think about this, and after watching the series, I binge watched one day while I was sick a couple weeks ago, and that is the best way to watch the Scream series back to back to back to back. It was great. But anyway, like there's a lot of stuff from 3 that I feel like is going to end up coming to light in Scream 6. For some reason, I just have a weird feeling that's going to happen. For sure, because you should be on heavy spoilers because you are all about the spoilers. But yeah, I think, we talked about when Halloween Kills came out, could it make Halloween better for me? Halloween 1 or Halloween 2. I hate that they called it Halloween. And Halloween Kills did not. But then Halloween Ends made Halloween Kills and Halloween better for me. So, it's because I didn't like that movie. I can't wait to do the Halloween series, by the way. I'm like chomping at the bit wanting to watch some Halloween. So, we got a comment from Robbie. It's a big one. So, Scream 3 gets a lot of hate in the horror universe, but I think it came on the back of the amazing first and even better sequel in Scream 2. So that's why it suffered. That could be. And it sounds like he's with you, Seth. He seems to like Scream 2 better. I feel it goes a bit too much parody instead of clever writing.
Yep.
Of the original. Dewey's character became a bit of a joke. I really like the wrap up and story reveal of Roman. At first when I saw the movie, I loved Roman. I love that was her brother, but over the years it just doesn't age well. What about you? What do you can comment on what he said?
Well, I mean, I agree with him 100%. I mean, following up Scream 1 and 2, it's very rare, really, for a third movie to stand up to the previous 2, especially if the previous 2 are really good. But I mentioned this. I mentioned it earlier tonight that the writing was the big issue with this movie because you had someone who was he wasn't involved with Scream 1 and 2, and he didn't have a grasp on the characters. And I think there was also some studio pressure at that point too, because we've all heard the stories about how originally Kevin Williamson allegedly wanted to bring Stu back and have like a cult thing going on, but this was post Columbine, and the studio didn't want to do anything with teenagers murdering other teenagers like that, so they were kind of like shying away from it. So it was a combination of things, really. But yes, I mean the big thing is the writing, especially with Dewey's character, and I agree with them too that it did wrap it up pretty well.
Yeah, it did. And
as far as Roman goes.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying, as far as Roman goes, like, I kind of liked it too, but what I really like about it is that, this is, the Scream 2, the whole thing with Debbie was like, it was like Mrs. Voorhees, whereas Scream 3, it was the Freddy story. It was he's the bastard son of 100 studio executives,
right?
Really, so I kind of liked how it kind of had like that sort of element to it. But anyway, you were gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that in 2000, walking out of the theater, this was the first one I got to see on opening night, and I think it was the first one I saw in the theater because I missed out on the first one completely, and 2 I just never got around to going to. But by the way, I also want to say I think Scream 2 may be the best 1-2 punch to begin a horror series of everything over Halloween and Halloween 2. I do think Scream and Scream 2 are the best first two films of a horror series because Elm Street, while I love Freddy's Revenge, it's not it's pales in comparison to the first movie. You know, I love Texas Chainsaw 2, but again, it's such a different animal. You know, Hellraiser 2 may be close because Hellraiser 2 is damn near better than the original in some ways, and I know you feel that way about it. But I'm just saying, this is a hell of a one-two punch to get a series started, and then again, it's like a movie I like, Exorcist 2. A lot of people don't like it. It's a fucking batshit crazy movie. And how's it going to compare to the scariest movie of all time? You know, there's no way to do it. So Scream 3 has that problem where you got two great movies that came out back to back years, 3 years of waiting, and this is what they got. And I can see why people were pissed. But I walked out of the theater in 2000 with my brother, who was 12 at the time, happy. We were on cloud nine. It's a trilogy, the way it ended, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, same here. Like when I saw this in the theater, it sucks. I missed out on Scream 2 in the movie theater.
Yeah, me too.
It sucks that I missed that one because that's my favorite. But Scream 3, you know, seeing it for the first time, I was happy with that. I thought it was fun. Mm-hmm. You know, the problems I started having with it kind of came with the rewatches.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, not it took for it to get on VHS because I got the VHS before the DVD. But when I got the VHS and I started kind of analyzing it more, it's when I started seeing, you know, some issues. And but like still, like I think if Scream ended at the third movie, this would be a strong fucking trilogy, you know.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I still think it's a really strong horror franchise, and I'm glad it's continuing on to maybe at least 7. Yeah. Scream 2 creeped ahead of the original for me. Different between Scream. Seth is the same way, man. He prefers. I think he prefers Hellbound Hellraiser 2 over the first Hellraiser, which is madness. But you know, it's okay. And wait, don't you prefer Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 over Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I'm back and forth on that one.
Yeah,
but I do prefer Empire over New Hope.
You prefer Phantasm 2 over Phantasm?
Yeah, I'm a sequel guy.
Except for Die Hard.
Sequel guy.
Now, Die Hard, I prefer Die Hard 2 over Die Hard 1, which is almost sacrilegious, but, you know, I really like the airport setting, and I love the villain. Can we get a couple of words? Yeah. Fuck and you. You know, I love that. Anyway.
I wouldn't say it's better than the first one, though.
No, I didn't say it's better. I like it better. I like it better. Actually, I like With a Vengeance the best out of all of them. So,
I mean, the first movie was the greatest movie ever made, but I mean, you're allowed to be wrong.
Friendship over. Friendship over. No, I mean, there's no doubt Die Hard is absolutely one of the greatest movies, action movies for sure.
I also prefer Lethal Weapon 2 over Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I think I do too. I like Lethal Weapon, and it's got your boy or our boy Tom Atkins in it, but Lethal Weapon 2 is pretty fun. Hey, I like it. I like them both. It's hard to Child's Play 2 might also be better than Child's Play 1.
I agree.
Yeah. I still like Child's Play though because of the Chucky revealing himself to Annie's mom is like one of the best horror moments of all time. You know,
well, I think
we'll get to that too. Go ahead.
Going back to what you were saying though, like Child's Play 1 and Child's Play 2, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's a good subject. We should talk about that sometime on this show. I don't think Nate's going to want to do that one.
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time getting him to want to do lists anymore, and that's all he does on Facebook. He just puts up lists. It's like, let's do a show of top 10 zombie movies from last one. Well, maybe not a show of it. And I'm like, come on. Lists. Who likes a list? I love lists. If you go to thehorrorsyndicate.com, there are lists for days. By the way, check out thehorrorsyndicate.com if you haven't. There's tons of great shit on there. Seth's got this article. It's about the sequel to Elm Street 5 that never happened, and it's making its rounds right now, and it's a great read. Hey, I wanted to ask you, is there any like unused scripts for the Scream films that are floating around that you might be able to do articles on them?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't heard too much about any writers being hired and fired. So
Yeah. Poltergeist 2 over 1 just for the creepy. I mean, first of all, he was dying and he was just. No, Julian Beck is his name. I love Poltergeist 2 personally. I saw it in the theater. We were supposed to be seeing Cobra, this Stallone movie. And my cousin Aaron, who was, I think, 15 or 16 at the time, I was like 6. He's like, let's go see this movie. And when Craig T. Nelson pukes up the cane little thing, I was like, I'm done. I can't watch this. So, but yeah, I always talk to my daughter. She loves Poltergeist. She's 9 years old, and I'm like, we want the angel, and she does that every now and again. So we love the Poltergeist movies. I actually wrote an article on the HorrorSyndicate.com about how underrated Poltergeist 2 is. So anyway, let's get back to Scream 3. I need a massage. Anyway, so yeah, let's Scream 3. It has its good moments, and they didn't really bring in any interesting characters that really. The only one that really interests me, like I said, I like the Gale and what's her name?
Oh, Parker Posey.
Yeah, I had to burp. Sorry. Oh, that smells
Jennifer.
bad. Yeah, Jennifer, I like their relationship, but the Angelina role is the one that really gets me thinking, especially with like it was like whatever back then, but now like I keep thinking like, God damn, she didn't die. There's no fucking way she died of a shoulder wound like that. We've seen so many. Who got shot in the shoulder? Was it Sydney? Somebody got shot in the shoulder in one of them and lived. So
Randy.
Anyway, I don't know. I'm probably just. Oh, that feels good. I raised my back brace. Whew. Anyway, let me ask you about some of your favorite moments in the movie. What are some of your favorite moments in the movie? Because I've got a couple, and I've got one that really bugs me. But what are a couple of your favorites?
Oof. Trying to think. Do I have any favorite moments? Because I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank on that. I mean, I like the movie.
Yeah, I like the scene where they're in the house, read it, and the power goes out, and they got to read the script that's being faxed over, and he has to light the thing, and it fucking explodes. I didn't expect that to happen. When I watched that in the theater, I was like, oh shit, this is a step up for Ghostface. And then the ending was kind of not as good as the endings of the first two, but in Roman's reveal. I like Sydney's face when she was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah, I did like that moment where Sydney's like, she screams at Roman, "I've heard all this shit before. Just fucking do something, you coward," or something like that. I did like that moment because I like Sydney's toughness. Yeah. I didn't think the kills were really.
There's nothing that really stands out in this one.
No.
We
like the beginning scene with Cotton it's a cool scene, but I just hate the fact that it's Cotton.
That he dies.
Yeah, because I it's one of my big pet peeves in horror movies is when a character survives one movie, then they're killed in the very opening of the sequel.
That kind of happened in Remaster.
Yeah, it did.
Joey and Kristen.
It did. But like at least they lasted like 10 or 15 minutes into the movie, whereas Cotton kind of dies first scene, even though I didn't care for Adrienne King's character in Friday the 13th, her character dying at the very first scene of part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, it drives me nuts. And I felt like Cotton was a good character that they could have built upon.
Yeah, when I saw he was back in it, I was like, oh, good. I liked him. I liked the potential of what Cotton could be, and it was almost kind of squandered, But the pet peeve, or not pet peeve, but the thing that kind of bugs me is they like how like they leaned into Patrick Dempsey, the cop's character, and making it seem like he's one of the killers. He came off super fucking creepy. And like in the end, Sydney and him seem to have a relationship, that they're dating or whatever. It's like he was being super weird and awkward, and I mean, definitely questioning him if he's one of the killers. And there's one line he said, he gets really close. So I don't remember what he says, but he gets really close to her face. I'm like, dude, like come on.
Yeah, they were really trying to set him up as like a red herring.
Yeah, well, it was obvious though. That's the one of the problems with that character. Overall his character wasn't terrible, but like I swear that I thought like I was like this guy. I think I even leaned over my brother, so I think they're trying to say this guy might be the killer, but I don't think he is. Aaron Kruger wrote several Transformers movies since Top Gun Maverick. Uh, quite a top-down career. Sarah Darling's death. Cotton died too soon. Cotton always had the mystique that potentially could be the killer. That would have been interesting. But I think by the end of the second movie, I don't think like the way he was. He's a submissive type person. Scream 2, best sequel, my fave. Then the original 4, 3, and 5. I don't like at all. Oh, lost Seth. Damn it. He'll be back. Anyway, yeah, I'm noticing it. There's a lot of people who have a lot of love for Scream 2, and there's no wrong way to enjoy horror movies. I'm just saying. I like the first one the best. And I actually like 4 better than 2. So, but when Seth comes back, we'll reveal our ratings for each movie between 3 and 4. And then there's the audience score. So if you're on our Facebook page, when we're doing the 5-star rating system, I have the audience scores, which is you guys, for Screams 4 and 5. And I mean, 3 and 4 and 5. And a lot of the other ones I've been working on. I have to write them down because they're getting so many like votes or ratings or whatever. Like Train to Busan itself had 244,000 ratings, but the Scream movies, Scream 4 had 5,329, Scream 5 had 615. I can't read my own handwriting, but Scream 4 was the most rated out of all of them. And then I gotta write down the Chainsaw movies next. We'll be doing those probably over the summer after Elm Street. Seth may have to restart his computer. Scream would have been a better as a solo movie, but all the sequels are good. Jason X, toilet level movie in there. Yeah, Scream. If Scream was a one-off, I think it would have been good. But I think I like that it's a series because I think Scream. Obviously, they wanted to make more money because Scream brought horror back from the depths of the straight to video market. Is what horror was becoming in the mid '90s, and Scream brought it back, and Scream 2, and then we got a bunch of imitators like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend, and kind of like the slasher boom of the early '80s after Halloween. There was a bunch of these not teeny bop, but like teen-led slasher type movies. They even tried to do a few others that weren't slashers, and then of course the parody movies came out with Scary Movie. And I like that first couple Scary movies. My back is killing me. I hope Seth comes back soon because I want to reveal these scores. I will spoil that Seth and my score for Scream 3 are exactly the same, and not on purpose. It just happened to be that way. I'm just going to do it because I don't know if he's going to restart his computer or what's going to happen. But I'll show mine first. Scream 3 gets a 74%. Out of 100, of course. And what we do is we have 10 categories that we rate each category in a score of 1 to 10. And then when you rate, so if you rate something a 7 or an 8, you just add it up and it comes out to 74 out of 100, so that's 74%. And that's what Scream 3 gets from me, which might be high, but I like I said, I enjoy. As soon as Seth comes back, we're definitely getting into Scream 4. I really like Scream 4. But anyway, so 74% is what I gave Scream 3, and it's still higher than a lot of the Friday the 13th. And then Seth, same thing, 74%. It's 74% across the board for us, and that's okay because it is definitely more than likely going to be the number 5 on our ranking, unless or number 6, unless Scream 6 just stinks it up. And overall, between the two of us, obviously, if our scores are the same, they're going to average out to the same. So Scream 3 is a 74%. Now, when I talked about doing the 5-star ratings on the Horror Syndicate's Facebook page, pardon me while I get my papers out because I'm old school. Scream 3 had 516 ratings at the time that I did this, and they came out to a 59%. So, and the way I do that is I multiply, the 5-star ratings, how many we get by 5, then the 4s by 4, and then add them up and divide them by how many we get, and it comes out to a score like 2.7 or some shit like that, and I multiplied it by 2 to get the percentage score. So it works out pretty good. Seth is coming back. It's a white screen for now. There he is. What happened, brah?
Well, my bonehead daughter hit the switch that killed the internet. So I had to wait for the whole thing to reboot.
Oh, that's funny. That happens. That happened to me a couple times too, man. Like every now we got our router's a little bit older, and every now and again it just starts lagging a little bit, and my kids know unplug it and plug it back in, and things will go fine. And they've done that a couple times in the middle of the show. If I drop out, that's generally what happened. I just told the scores, and yours was 74%. Anything you want to touch on before we move on to 4, or why you got to 74?
It's well, because I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it's the weakest of the Scream movies, but it's still entertaining, and I think it's got some strong entertainment value. And I really love the score from Marco Beltrami for this one, and it served as a good sort of conclusion. Like I said earlier, if this series ended with this one, I would have been fine with it. I'm glad they continued on because I like the series, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned the audience score is a 59%. I think that's pretty fair. 516 ratings, and I think, when you get that many people rating something, it's gonna come out to a good average. And I think all of them actually came out to a pretty decent average, if I remember correctly. Not very surprising. But now we'll move on to Scream 4. Which is my second favorite of the series. And 50, he says a 59 is fair, whereas 74 is generous. I should send you the what we use so you can make up your own scores. I'm so curious to see what you would rate some of the things that we talk about, Sean. Anyway, Scream 4 it kind of came out of nowhere for me because I didn't see it until I was in the video store. And I didn't know it was coming out on DVD in the theater or anything. Otherwise, I went and saw it. But it came out, and I saw it at the theater or in the video store. I'm like, holy shit! There's a new Scream. This is before they started putting up trailers all over Facebook and stuff. You actually had to go to the QuickTime website to check out trailers. Shit like that. So I rented it, and I was like, oh, this is okay. But over time, this one's grown on me so much. Like, I really enjoy it. I know there are people that bitch about the cold open, for opening kill, because it's like, kills within kills within kills. Yeah. And I liked that. It threw me off. I'm like, what the fuck? And by the time you get to the actual kill, it's a good chase. And I like that Amy Teagarden, who's from Friday Night Lights, they even talk about her giant boobs because she had giant boobs at the time. I don't know if she still does, but yeah, I like the opening of Scream 4, which I think when we do our ranking show for the Screams, we're gonna rank the openings because that's an event in itself. I think this opening might not be the best one, but I do like it quite a bit. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. Like the first time I saw this, because I did see this in the movie theater. I was excited that it was coming out. It's like 11 years after Scream 3, so it was exciting to see another Scream movie from Wes Craven again.
Yeah, last one.
Yeah, and the opening scene, when I first saw the movie, I thought it was fun, but like when I rewatched the movie, I'm just like, let's just get to the actual opening kill. Um, but yeah, I like Scream 4 quite a bit. It was I can't remember who said it earlier, but it was like a return to form. I think Sean said that.
Sean, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's a return to form for the series. And it was nice too because Kevin Williamson also came back and he
Right
basically he eventually he was kind of replaced with Aaron Kruger from Part 3, who did some rewrites on Williamson's script, but Williamson got the credit. So it was mostly his stuff, but it felt like a Scream movie, where Scream 3, not quite so much.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I like it so much, is it does feel like a Scream movie, and plus it's kind of almost a successful. It's what they should have done with Star Wars in a way, where you get this whole new cast of people, that you follow, because it's Jill and her gang and Kirby, and and the older cast is there more as a supporting role rather than center stage, and I really like that because it's their movie, and the legacy characters, if you will, are kind of there to help out, which I like that. And I love Jill. I love her. She is so I love Emma Roberts, though. That's a thing I have a problem with. I just love her, everything she's in. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put her on the Horror Syndicate birthday thing, because most people don't seem to like her like I do. I've seen her in American Horror Story and a few other things, Scream Queens, and I just think she's got a lot of range. She's a good actress. But anyway, I liked her character because I did not see her coming as the killer in this one. And same thing with Charlie. I didn't expect it to be Charlie. I had a weird feeling it was going to be the boyfriend, and it wasn't. It was back to smart writing, decent killers before you got bored of Emma Roberts. I like her. And Kirby, everybody loves Kirby. That's Ghostface after Stu is Jill. Yeah. I like that, though. She wanted to be famous, She lived in Sydney's shadow, and that probably does suck. What are your thoughts on this one overall?
Well, that's one of the strong things with it too, is because I felt like they did a really good job of setting Jill up to be sort of like the new Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it was revealed to be her behind the whole thing, I thought that was a pretty clever twist. And one of the things that really stands out about this movie with me is the fact that she basically wins, and we get this super fun scene where she's trying to like set everything up to make herself be a victim, and she's kicking her own ass,
ripping her hair out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's taking the knife, putting it up there, and running into a wall. Purposely jumping through like a glass coffee table. Like, it was just really cool to see that thing happen. And I felt like that's where this movie should have ended. What they did after with the hospital scene, like that's the part where I'm like, eh.
Well, she slipped up, and with the whole stab wound thing, showing that Gail's like, what, she got stabbed in the shoulder too, and she's like, how did she? Yeah, I actually like that. I do like the line that Sydney says, at the end of the movie after she, fries her brain.
Yeah, that is a good line.
Yeah, it's I don't know, this was the first one, I think, since the first one, that I did not have a clear indication on who may be the killer. Because like in 2 and 1, I was like, it's like, I don't care if they say he's innocent. That's Billy is one of the killers. I thought, well, of course, he was the killer. Then they showed it was Stu. So Stu was a surprise. But like, and then with the next one, I knew Mickey was going to be the killer, one of the killers, And 3, I wasn't surprised that it was Roman so much, because he was funny to me. I like Roman. Like, they're going to kill my movie, and Scream 3, and he was just so concerned about his movie. But he played that part really well, where to keep it, people from. It's like going back to 3 for a second. I love that scene where they're in John Milton's office, and they ask Jennifer if she's coming to his birthday party, and he's like, as if my life is not tragic enough. And he's turning 30. I like that. That's funny. I like Roman overall, but yeah, like this one, I didn't expect it was to be Charlie. Like I didn't expect that at all, and I didn't expect it to be Jill. But then when they were revealed, I knew she was gonna sacrifice him. Shot her boyfriend in the dick too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Scream 4 quite a bit. I like seeing Dewey as the head honcho, the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? My back is. I can't wait to watch this episode back to watch me move around as much. But what's his name? Or what's her name? Deputy Judy.
Yeah, Deputy Judy.
I liked her. Yeah, and Gail being kind of jealous, and there's a lot of cool stuff in this one. I love that they have the Stabathon event. That is, how cool is that? They watch all the stab movies out in some barn somewhere. That, like, I wish I went to that school for that. That would have been so cool to go to an event like that. It's almost kind of reminiscent of in Texarkana they used to show the Town That Dreaded Sundown every year, like in the town square or something like that. It's kind of the same deal. This happened in our town. We embrace it. Because the Phantom's long dead, and this is the first movie back in Woodsboro. Which, it's funny when people talk about Scream 6, they're like, they're finally getting out of Woodsboro. It's like, half the series is not in Woodsboro. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I like this one a lot. It's not one I get to watch very often, but when I do, it's like I forget how much I like it. It's definitely better than 3. And the only thing I'm disappointed about with this one is we didn't get another follow-up to this one. I mean, we had to wait 11 years to get the next Scream, and there wasn't really a follow-up to this one, which is kind of good because, like, I don't know. Do you have any idea what direction they were going to go in if they were going to do? Because I think, wasn't it because it didn't do well in the box office that
yeah, I think so.
Didn't get a sequel? Because I'm curious to know what they would have done with maybe an original Scream 5. Would it have been Scream 5? Or would it have been Scream?
It would have been Scream 5, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure, yeah. I
think that would have been really cool to see, too, like if this movie ended with Jill getting away with it and setting everything up, and then we get like another 2 movies with Jill, doing her own sequels and,
Yeah, making her star rise even higher. That would have also killed off Sydney if they would have just ended there, more than likely. Or would you have left Sydney alive? Because that's one of the best parts. Actually, they could have ended right as they're taking him out of the house, like they did in Scream. Yeah. And Sydney survived, or some. I don't know. I don't know how they would do it. I'm trying to find out. Let's see. Prior to Scream 4, Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson both stated that its success would lead to a 5th film. Williamson stated in January 2010 that he was contracted to write a 5th film in addition to the 4th one. Following the underperformance of the film at the box office, as well as the death of Craven in 2015, rest in peace, sad. He died of the same thing my wife did, brain cancer. Doubts were cast on the possibility of future films. In 2015, MTV began airing the anthology television series, which I actually liked. In June 2015, Bob Weinstein was asked about the possibility of a continuation after Scream 4. He denied the possibility of a 5th installment and the continuing any further. So I don't know if they ever produced anything, because the next thing is about 2019 when Blumhouse got involved, and they, of course, made Scream 5. So I don't know. It's something I may have to do more digging to see. I just kind of looked up on Wikipedia there.
Blumhouse didn't do it.
Well, yeah, but they got involved. They tried to buy Scream, and in 2019, I remember when all that was happening. And
that was after the arrest of Harvey Weinstein, right? And so that they were starting to sell off all their properties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm curious though, like, if you think about it, what would Blumhouse have done with Scream? You know, like I shudder to think. I could read on if you want. That'd be like that segment on TV on How I Met Your Mother where the guy just reads the news. Let's see. In 2019, it was reported that Spyglass, right here, was reported that Blumhouse, which specializes in horror theme, was had interest in the series, but nothing happened with it. That's what happened. And they were going to reboot the series. So I wonder if it would. One thing about the Scream movies that I don't think that they should have. Or if they were ever going to reboot it, I don't think they should do a reboot of like this is Sydney and Billy and all that bullshit. I would like to see like copycats in other towns or something like that, rather than a full reboot.
Well, yeah, I mean, and well, the series kind of set that idea up pretty well with 4 and 5 really being people who were obsessed with the stab movies.
Just Skinamarink, I tried watching it. It's barely a movie. That's all I'm gonna really say about Skinamarink. It's I hated it. I will not even put it on our 2023 list at all. I'm not even gonna bother ranking it. It's garbage. Anyway, yeah. Say that again.
I forgot what I was saying.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I got distracted. Skinamarink. I don't know. I think we'll see how happy I am if they didn't make a Scream 5. We were talking about Blumhouse and what they would have done with it in a remake. This is one of those series that I don't think should ever be remade.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like the series sets up very well that the stab movies are very popular and very influential on the wrong people. So you can do different stories where someone uses the Ghostface persona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anywhere. And technically, Scream was based on the what is it, the killings from Florida, in St. Augustine or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
I've heard something about it, but
yeah, Scream Legacy, that would be a good title if they made a remake, a reboot, because they only use numbers and now Roman numerals. Ugh, I need to get Keith to make me some box art for my Scream 5 that says 5 on it, because I hate that shit so much, or a V, if anything. But anyway, so what else do you want to get into with Scream 4?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I like it. It's my third favorite in the series. The beginning's okay. The ending, I would have preferred it to end at a certain point rather than continue on the way it did. But we did get that great line from Sydney out of it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like one of the main characters should have died in Scream 4? Because I feel like
Gainesville Ripper. Sorry, that's what the case was. I don't know. Like, I was fine with them surviving in this one. I felt bringing them back in Scream 5, one of them had to go. I think we discussed that. I don't know, like, which one would it have been? You know, like Sydney didn't play a pivotal role in Scream 5. I don't think so. She could have died. I mean, but I'm glad that she got to live her life or whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't think Dewey was really in imminent danger almost ever. You know, I mean, because he didn't get stabbed or shot or anything really. He got hit in the face with a bedpan, I think. But
yeah, he was barely involved with it. But I felt like, I don't know, maybe the movie would have been a little bit higher up with me if they did kill Gail in that one scene where she got attacked in the barn.
Yeah,
it would have like helped raise the stakes, because I mean, Scream 4 is probably the most brutal.
It is
out of all.
Well,
you know,
I think Scream 5 has some great brutalness to it too, especially the beginning.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But like Scream 4, like it was way more brutal than 1 through 3, and I felt like it had the potential to have very high stakes. And if they killed off Gale in that scene,
seems like you and Robbie are like best friends. Are you the same person here? He says the same thing about Gale. I agree. I thought she was going to die. I honestly thought she was dead when that happened in Scream 4. But she probably would have been missed either from Scream 5. The only legacy character that really needed to come back in Scream 5 was Dewey because he was still in Woodsboro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have made his death even more powerful. Like if Gale died beforehand in Part 4.
Yeah. So maybe Gale will get a send off in this next one. Don't say anything because you know already.
I don't know anything about that. Serious.
Okay. Well, we'll know in 2 weeks. And just so anybody's wondering what we're going to do, we're going to do a show, non-spoiler, for Scream 6 on Friday earlier. And then we're going to do, are we doing a ranking after that? Is that what I already forgot.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We're not going to spoil
We'll do a... Yeah, exactly. That'd be a dick thing to do.
Seth already knows who the new Ghostface is, so he can't do this.
Principal Himbry.
Huh?
It's Principal Himbry.
That's Principal Himbry. I think maybe what's her name? Sam Carpenter. I think they're going to change it up and make her Ghostface with an unidentified boyfriend that's of hers. But I also think it's going to be some kind of indoctrination from some cult. That's, I don't know. We know. He's being a shithead, a shit disturber, right? Anyway.
Hey, man, I mean, he's going to teach them for being the heartless, desensitized little shit that they are.
Right. Maybe, I mean, the biggest theory that's going around is a lot of people want to see Stu come back, even though he's supposed to be dead. So I don't know if I'm going to hold on to that. I won't be disappointed if he's not. If he is, I'll be surprised. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm fine with that. But I don't know. It's hard to, like, without seeing. I saw the one trailer, and I don't know. We'll see. There's a scene where it looks like Jenna Ortega could be the killer. And I'd like to see it be Sam.
That.
Huh? You don't buy that?
I saw that after the last trailer came out, like people were taking screenshots from it, and like clearly she had like mascara or whatever running down her face, like she was crying, but like the look on her face, people were like really analyzing it, like, she looks sinister, and I just don't buy her character being a killer.
Not after being attacked like that.
No, she was brutally attacked.
Yeah, I mean, she got fucking stabbed in the hand. That's becoming a thing, and I don't like that. I've seen it in other movies where people get stabbed in the fucking hand. I'm not a fan of that at all. That hurts me. What about Fred, the cleaner from? Well, Wes Craven's gone, so they have to probably do a digitally enhancement thing. I saw the weirdest YouTube short. Someone said on Sunday it was going to be news guest face because Sydney was always in the front of the poster. I saw the weirdest YouTube short. Someone said Sunday was going to be Sydney, I'm guessing, is going to be the new Ghostface. I don't know about that.
I don't think that'll ever happen. Like, I was talking with my friend Josh about that a little bit earlier. Like, I don't buy into any of the survivors becoming the new killers based on their experiences. I mean, after everything that Sydney went through, I couldn't buy into her being a killer.
The legacy characters only? Because honestly, I don't. Go ahead. I was gonna say Sam's a wild card, man.
I think Sam, there's the potential where they could be building her up to being someone who maybe is on the mantle. Maybe there's going to be for like part 7, like you never know, like, if it'll be like there's a Ghostface as killing other people dressed as Ghostface, you know. So maybe that type of deal. But I don't know. Just
they fucking reveal Sidney Prescott as Ghostface in this, I'm done with the series. I'll just say that. I'm not even joking. That's the worst. That's dumb.
They'll never do it. I can guarantee. I don't work for the studio, but I can guarantee you they'll never do it.
I hope not. I'd like.
I mean, it wouldn't make a lick of sense.
No.
But then again, fans wanted Dr. Gordon to work with Jigsaw, and Saw fucking 7 did that for no reason, and it didn't make sense. So I don't know.
It would completely ruin the ultimate survivor character that Sydney has been building for 5 films. Why would she flip now? Exactly. It would ruin the whole franchise. That's what I'm saying. I agree 100% with that. I think that would kill the franchise. For me, especially, I'm like, okay, done. I probably wouldn't even buy Scream 6. I mean, it took a lot for me to buy this. I had to wait till it went down to $15, and I still haven't opened it. So, what if it's a character? What if they make Scream 6 like this, and it's just some bullshit character, and it's not even Ghostface, it's Scarecrow Face?
Corey Cunningham, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been a thing for a while now. Like, it seems to me like every time a new Scream movie comes out, I'm always seeing like a theory. Like for a couple of them, I've seen theories, you know, even back in the early days of dial-up internet, you know, of Dewey's going to be the killer. Dewey's going to be the killer. Like almost every Scream movie that comes out, there's a fan theory about Dewey being the killer. And, you know, then there's Gale, and then there's Sydney. I've seen the Sydney ones too, but just to me personally, I don't think it would make any sense for any of them to be the killer or any of the survivors, in my opinion.
How is Stu still alive? Well, currently is not. We'll see after Scream 6 comes out. And they'll figure out some bullshit way to bring him back to make the fans happy. He's not alive as far as I'm concerned. It'd be cool if Stu came back and everything, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. There's a pun in there because Stu got electrocuted.
That's true. Just for shock factor. Anyway, yeah, so we need to bring back Randy. If they're going to bring back anybody from the past as a killer, I think the cameraman from number 2 could be a good kind of person of like, oh my God, really? And then Angelina from, like, what if, like, okay, let me throw this scenario out there. What if there was a mastermind above Roman that was really pulling the strings? You know, he's the one who said, Roman, this is your mom. And then, you know, and set everything in motion. But like he also recruited somebody from each movie except for the first movie. So he recruited the cameraman, Gale's cameraman. He recruited Angelina. You know, he recruited Kirby maybe from 4. You know,
he recruited every single person they showed a close up of the boots of. There you go.
Solid. You know, what? That's just a weird theory that just popped in my head. But like, what if there was like a ringmaster who was just recruiting survivors of the Ghostface killings from each movie? You know, and maybe his final, his magnum opus is recruiting Sam. You know, to be the new Billy Loomis. Which, I mean, Billy Loomis was just a high school student that went on you know, too many movies or whatever. Cotton has always been the true Ghostface. Cotton's dead.
There you go. Cotton faked his death. He's the mastermind.
Now we're getting. He was in a movie called Stab, or he was making a movie called Stab.
He was stabbed. I love that line. I was going to mention that earlier.
That guy is great. I love that cop. But anyway, let's move on to our scores for Scream 4 before we get too far ahead of ourselves. And next week when we do Scream 5, we will absolutely spend some time talking about the coming Scream 6 because I want to, first of all, and you know, we'll be a week away from it at that point. But first, let's do our scores and our audience scores. And Seth, you're of course up first with your 87%. for Scream 4?
Yes, it is it's a strong sequel. Um, Again, I don't hate part three, but this is a huge step up from part three. Um, and I feel like there's a lot of potential with this one too, to definitely be the darker and more brutal Scream. I can see why people love this one. I know quite a few people who love this as their second favorite or even their favorite. I mean, my kids love
It's my
this one.
second favorite.
Yeah. So I can see why a lot of people love it. There's just a few things about it that kind of take it down a little bit for me. So, it's, Scream 2 is still my favorite sequel, especially. Um, but yeah, Scream 4 is it's a good movie. It's fun to watch, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and as for me, I give it an 88. So we're pretty like on the same level with Scream 3 and Scream 4. This one I had Scream 3 at 84%. Or Scream 2, I mean, at 84%. And I like them. I like all these movies. And I hate to say that there is a weaker one, and it is Scream 2 or 3. But man, this is so much fun. I like the cast. I love the new characters. That's one of the things that kind of helps make a sequel for me is whether or not I like the new characters. And between Jill and Kirby and Charlie and the guy that was always wearing the head webcam thing, I can't remember his name, who thought changing the rules by saying he was gay was going to help him live. There's just I love the new characters, and this one, as you said, is fucking brutal, and I like it when things get brutal. It's more the most brutal of the first four for sure. I mean, and maybe even all of them, because the scene in the beginning of Scream 5 with Jenna Ortega, and then of course the female Ghostface getting burned. We've never seen anything like that. That's pretty fucking brutal too. But man, I just really enjoy this movie. I like seeing Dewey as the sheriff. Means he paid his dues. I like Gail living in Woodsboro is driving her crazy. What if Dr. Loomis was a figment of Michael Myers' imagination? Cunningham. You see this? A Cunningham.
Of course, the Cunningham would say that.
Yeah. Oh,
I can see Michael. I can see Michael riding a white horse.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, our overall score for Scream 4, if you couldn't guess, between 87 and 80, we round up, it's 88%, which I believe at the moment it's number 3 on our combined rankings. So it's Scream 3, 4, 2, and 1 so far. Audience score, you guys, on our 5-star reviews, gave it a 79%. So I think that's pretty damn respectable for the audience reviews. And this one had the most. Seth, did you know that I got my papers out again because I'm an old man. I still write things down like it's a kid's game.
Don't forget to put on your bifocals.
Yeah, hold on. I don't even know where my glasses are at this point. It had 5,329 ratings for Scream 4, which is the most because 1 got 870, 2 got 479, 3 got 516, and 5 got 615, which is kind of the reverse of 3. Interesting. Which made me think, like, is the Scream series not as well liked as some of the other horror franchises? Because Friday the 13th we're doing right now, and it's just killing it. Thousands of votes for the first movie, which I'm excited to get to crunch the numbers together for that so we can really see the dominance that is Jason Lives over the final chapter.
Good luck with that, pal.
Thank you.
You dead fuck.
Listen, if Jason Lives or final chapter get number 1, it's a win for both of us or for everybody. But if somehow the first movie ends up with the highest score, I'm going to throw my fucking table out the window because the first Friday the 13th is not the best of the series. It's not even the 5th best. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with the scores. Like I said, we will do our personal rankings in 2 weeks' time of all 6 Scream movies. We will do our combined rankings of all 6 Scream movies. We're going to rank The Killers. We're going to rank the opening scenes all in our Scream ranking show in 2 weeks. And we will do a earlier show. So we're going to do 2 shows on the day that Scream 6 actually comes out. And we'll do a short review, spoiler free, because I think we're both going to see it Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll do that short review, maybe 20, 30-minute episode, and then we'll go into doing our Scream rankings. And it's going to be great. So we'll also have the audience scores for all of them, except for probably 6, because that might be tough to come by on day one. But I'll put the thing up on Friday morning and see if anybody rates it. So we'll see what we can come up with. But yeah, that's the coming 2 weeks, and then after that, we're going to get back on Friday the 13th to. See, you guys are best friends already. You and Robbie Boschel, or is it Boschel? Anyway, you guys got like a fucking hive mind over here. So anyway, I think these are pretty good ratings for the Scream films that we're covering tonight. I think doubling up on some of the movies is probably good. I think we should double up Friday, Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Because, I mean, I could probably spend a full hour talking about part 8, because I do like that one. And I definitely want to get into the thick of it with you, because you really hate that one the most, I think, out of all of them. So that'll be our episode after our Scream rankings. And then shortly after that, we'll get to the complete Friday the 13th rankings, and then we'll jump into Elm Street after that, right?
Yes.
And this is what the show's going to be every Friday, unless I'm out of town, which I will be at the end of May. But every Friday, we're going to be doing a movie from all these big franchises. So, each week it's going to be a new movie from the franchise, generally one per week. And after the Elm Street series, it's kind of up in the air. We've talked about maybe doing Phantasm. We've talked about doing maybe Texas Chainsaw over the summer.
The Howling.
The Howling. Oh man, we're gonna have to do like 4 movies in one, show. And you really are trying to get me to watch Marsupials again, aren't you?
I'm a dick like that.
You son of a bitch! Buy me the Scream Factory, and I'm in. I'm in.
Well, that worked out for us all in Precinct 13.
I started it. It's still set on my Blu-ray player with Captain Kronos and TerrorVision. I watched TerrorVision last week with Elena when she was sick. She stayed home sick one day, and she had a fever. I'm like, what do you want to do? She's like, can we watch TerrorVision? I'm like, yeah, we sure can. And I fell asleep, and she just watched it with a gleeful smile. My little horror buddy. She loves horror movies. Anyway, so let's recap, and then we'll get on out of here, and we'll see you guys on. You going back to Tuesdays for sure for Supernatural?
Yeah,
maybe.
Perhaps it's a
Supernatural Syndicate. They cover the Supernatural episodes each week, and generally, last couple of weeks have been kind of off with sicknesses and all kinds of stuff, and they do that on Tuesdays, right here on the Horror Syndicate Facebook and the Horror Syndicate on YouTube. Got a couple. Has she seen Scanners? No. And neither has Nathan Thomas Milliner, apparently. Found that out the other day, and I was surprised. I don't think she'd be interested in Scanners. I like Scanners, but it's like there's some draggy moments in that movie. So I don't know. Like I tried showing her. I can't think of the name of the movie now. It's a Cronenberg movie with little kids that are like mutant looking things. The Brood. I love that movie, and she was bored. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day. But anyway, let's do the recap real fast. For Scream 3 and Scream 4, Seth gives it a 74. I give it a 74. It's an overall 74. Boring. And then our audience score is 59%, which comes out to about a 66 overall between us and the audience. And then Seth gives Scream 4 and 87. I gave Scream 4 an 88, which rounding up 88. And then audience score is 79, which about 84% between all of us, which not too bad. And of course, next week we will be talking about Scream 5 leading into Scream 6. So we will be talking a little bit of Scream 6 theories and stuff like that to prepare you and us and everybody that enjoys the show, which, you know, there's like 5 of us. Uh, hey, the horror man is here. Hey, oh, you're a little late, buddy. We're we're wrapping things up for the night. I like this guy though. He's got some good play Evil Speak. You want us to do an episode on Evil Speak? Okay, okay. Rest in peace, Wes Craven. Yes, Wes Craven was the man. Uh, one thing I will say about the Scream movies, and I want to ask you, do you think the Scream movies enhanced his legacy as a horror film creator, director?
Yeah, I mean, the Scream movies are some of the better films of his filmography, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like we were talking, we did a whole episode on Scream. I mean, Wes Craven, kind of going over his filmography back last year on the Horror Syndicate Discourse, and some of his movies in the '80s are kind of weak. You know, and I'm not a fan of Last House on the Left or even his Hills Have Eyes. Excuse me. And you got movies like Deadly Friend, which has a great basketball scene, but other than that, yes, yeah, Shocker's a great one or a good one. I don't like Shocker. I have not seen Deadly Blessing though either. So, but People Under the Stairs is a good one.
I was just
Go
going to
ahead.
ask if you saw Deadly Blessing, because I think
No, I
Deadly
haven't seen that one
Blessing,
yet. Is it
Deadly
good?
Blessing, personally, I feel like it's one of his stronger ones.
Well, the only one that I've liked out of the '80s really is Elm Street, and Nightmare on Elm Street's my favorite horror movie. And I love Wes Craven for bringing Freddy to life, and I respect him so much because he is a good filmmaker, but he has more misses than John Carpenter does. And like we talk about like a horror, Mount Rushmore, and people are like, "Oh, Wes Craven belongs up there." I'm like, I don't know if he does. Well, I mean, John Carpenter's there, 100%. I'm to a point now, and if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But James Wan could probably be on there as well. James Wan is a hell of a director. I mean, he's made some of the scariest movies in the last 10 years, you know, and even goes back further because he helped create Saw, which I'm not a huge fan of, but Saw and Insidious, The Conjuring. He's got quite the
Furious 7.
dude. He's Aquaman. He's versatile though. I like James Wan kind of quite a
Well,
bit.
yeah, my favorite James Wan movie is Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon.
I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, you have to see it, dude. It's revenge movie that's like kind of based on, because there's a couple of books from what's his name, Brian Garfield, the guy who wrote Death Wish. So there's Death Wish,
okay.
and then there's Death Sentence. But I guess the Death Sentence movie is closer to the Death Wish book than the Death Sentence book. But neither here nor there. Death Sentence is a great revenge movie, and I saw it like not too long after my kids were born, so there was a emotional thing with it. But it's a really good movie. John Goodman is great in
I
it.
love John Goodman. I've high-fived him before. He was at a Cardinal game sitting behind me.
His role is smaller in it, but like he's very strong in it.
So Robbie brought up his personal favorite Craven movie is People Under the Stairs. I'm going to bring this one up to talk about on Discourse because I think I like that movie quite a bit. People
So
Under the
fun.
Stairs. It is. It's a lot of fun, man. This is one of those ones that you can catch up at any point in the movie and just watch it from wherever you start watching it. And when I was a kid, it was always when Fool was already in the house. So I missed a lot of the beginning, growing up because it was always on cable and stuff. So Wes Craven is a legend. Yes, he is a legend. I mean, his resume just speaks for itself, but I do think there were some slip-ups in the 80s. Death Sentence is amazing. It's so heartbreaking. Octopussy. What about Octopussy? Where'd that come from?
It's a good Bond film.
I like it. What is that? That's my little Octopussy. Uh,
Some
what's her
underrated
name?
Maud Adams.
Maud Adams. Yeah, I love Maud. She was in one of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies.
Yeah,
The fourth one,
part
I think.
4.
Yeah, Goodman's. I love John Goodman. Saw it like 3 times. Octopussy? Yeah, The Hills Have Eyes. Like I actually, we had an episode where we talked about it and the remake, and it was, I think, 100% of us prefer the remake, which is rare to like the remake over an original. But I like the remake of The Hills Have Eyes so much more than Wes Craven's, and but we wouldn't have it without Craven, so it's like the chicken or the egg type of thing, kinda. But I don't know. Hills Have Eyes is okay. I like it better than I like his snuff film. Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
But him and Sean S. Cunningham. It's always a Cunningham. No offense, Paul Cunningham. That's fucking shit up. You Sean Cunningham who is fucking things up with Friday the 13th. With the lawsuit with him and what's his name, and then you got fucking this guy Cunningham, Corey. Like, and were they paying homage to Sean Cunningham? Because big mistake, huge. Anyway,
Well, I mean, you could take it that way, where Corey Cunningham is someone who's pretending to be Michael, like the way Friday 13th was
trying to be Michael,
inspired by Halloween. But then there's also the whole thing where they were taking influence from Christine, and there was Arnie Cunningham, who was someone who was bullied and was going through that journey. So there's a couple different ways you could look at it.
I like Last House, but Sean's other movies, other than House and House 2, are mediocre to bad. House 2 is amazing. We have got to do episodes on House 2, because I fucking love those movies. Do you like that? Have you ever seen them?
I've seen the first 2, but it was a long time ago.
Man, I love them. I love them. They're so fun.
If I remember correctly, they're fun.
They're fun.
I just haven't watched them in a long time.
Yeah, you got Roger Cobb's the main character in the first one, and his son drowned, or he disappeared in his grandmother's house pool, and the house is supposedly haunted, but it's kind of like some kind of gateway dimensional thing to it. It's really fucking bizarre, but I love it, man. It was one of my favorites growing up. And then House 2 is less of a horror film, more of like a supernatural western almost in some ways. Fucking tons of fun, man. I love them. I love them. Plus, you get 2 characters from Cheers in each movie. You get Norm in the first one, and then you get Cliff in the second one. I don't know if you like Cheers or not, but just to throw that out there. And Kane Hodder, he gets thrown over a railing in the second movie in a monkey suit. So, a lot to look forward to. I like those 2 House movies. There is a House 3 and a House 4. I've seen House 4, but I don't think they're worth talking about because I've never seen House 3, and the only way to get them is this 4-pack from the UK from Arrow, and I'm not going to pay up the butt from that. So anyway, Seth, do you have any final words about the Scream 3 and 4 movies?
No, they're enjoyable to watch. I think it's a very strong series, and part 3 gets shit on a lot, but I think it's a little bit better than people give it credit for, while also not being great. And that's also just because of the writing. Scream 4 was a nice return to form. I just didn't care for a couple things in it, and I felt like it could have had higher stakes if they took more chances with killing off some of the main characters.
I'm not sure if you're talking about mashed potatoes or some kind of drug or the show.
I think it's talking about the show.
I used to watch it years ago when I was a kid, when I was sick, and the "Suicide is Painless" song at the beginning always made me feel weird. Corey is slang for penis in the UK, so every time Allison is asking where's Corey, and Halloween Ends at the cinema had a lot of us laughing. That's amazing. I had no idea. Where's Corey? Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. I like that. Scream 3, Roman Bridger, who is the Ghostface. Yes, he is. Anyway, yeah, I kind of, for the most part, agree with everything he says. Obviously, our scores were very similar. So, yeah, next week, Scream 5. And then after that, we will be doing a little short, spoiler free Scream 6. A lot of S's there. Scream 6 show. And then, of course, our Scream rankings, which that's the thing I'm really looking forward to is ranking these movies. I love fucking doing a good ranking. As a matter of fact, if you follow the horrorsyndicate.com, our website, I'm releasing my top 25 of the 1990s in horror. That's going to be coming up this week, maybe this weekend if I can get it done. But I've got the list already done. It's just I got to add images and like I like to mention what I feel about each movie. And I think there's going to be some surprises on there for some people. Yes, Scream. Yeah, we'll be talking about Scream 6 next week or 2 weeks from now. But so if check out the horrorsyndicate.com for all kinds of great articles. Seth's got a lot of good ones, unused scripts. He's got some good rankings and reviews. And then I've got just all kinds of weird shit that I'm not a very good writer. No, you're not, Ray. You're pretty good. Thanks, Seth. Anyway.
I was going to say it.
Yeah, you look like you're going to say it. Thanks, buddy. Anyway, that's it for us. We will see you next Friday. And if you watch the Horror Syndicate Discourse, we'll be back at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern with the Horror Syndicate Discourse and the other two Jabberwockies. So we'll see you next time.